How you doing, man?
I'm good. How about you on this very special day? Why is it a special day? Because it's your birthday. Yeah.
Hey!
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Yes, returning to our roots. Um, you having a good birthday, Jay? Are you filled with energy on your birthday?
No,
No?
not energy, but I'd like to be after this cup of tea. I hope to be.
That will be the goal. That's our goal for today, aside from uh, celebrating you, will be to talk about how we energize, get a little energy in our day,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
I feel bad. On my birthday, you did like a huge surprise video with tasting with a fragrant blind fragrance test, and I've got nothing for you, man.
Well, I'm a more considerate person, so it's just
That's
what it
true.
is.
That's true. Yeah, good point. Good point. I don't feel so bad anymore. Yeah. My little brother, my littlest brother. You got a nice necklace on. I know you've been wearing that lately, but you got the the classic parent bead necklace going on. Dad,
It's
nice.
actually backwards, but I think it's reading
Yeah.
correctly.
What's
Yeah.
that? Yeah, I can see it's backwards.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either the A is upside down or the D's are backwards. It depends on how you look at it.
Yeah. All right. So let me give the official intro. Hey, everybody, I'm TQ. This is my brother JQ. We're talking to you live. This is Tea Time at the Apothecary. I'm coming to you from the upstairs of Merz Apothecary here in Lincoln Square. Jay is ensconced in his music production, video production cave, also in Lincoln, on the other side of Lincoln Square. We come at you every Wednesday and Friday at noon Central Time, doing live video, talking about life, interviewing amazing people. And just sort of touching based on topics of health, wellness, life improvement, positivity, and occasionally some good music as well. Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and yes, thanks, John. Hey, John, welcome. Mexican Independence Day. It's awesome. I've been seeing the Mexican flags everywhere. My Spanish is not good enough for me to whip off some sort of like fancy uh, fancy cry of celebration, I would say. But happy Mexican Independence Day to everyone, to all of our Mexican friends, and to our neighbors to the south. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Are you talking about like in Pilsen or like in actual Mexico?
Both. I was thinking actual Mexico, our
Oh,
neighbors,
okay.
country to the south. No, Mexican. There are neighbors throughout the city.
I was gonna say I like the closest neighbors to the west, probably.
You know, this is Chicago. It's a very
Yeah,
Mexican
all
city.
over the place.
Something that
But
I love.
Albany Park is a huge, huge.
Yeah, turn down your microphone a tad.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something I love about our city is it's a very Mexican city. It's one of the things that makes it a great city.
When I lived in New York, I would get like great Puerto Rican food, but I was just like, where is the Mexican food? And they finally, like, in the last 10 years, there's like taco shops on every block now
Yeah.
because they were like, why did it take us? And New York's great at quick street food, like,
Yeah, no, I was there in the late 90s and I was having serious Mexican food withdrawal,
yeah.
uh, living in New
Like they
York.
had good sit down Mexican, like gourmet, but no, like the good fast Mexican,
It was lacking. Um, yeah, you know, Chicago is it's a cornucopia of good eating, uh, and Mexicans at the top of that list as far
Oh,
as
for
I'm concerned.
sure, for sure. From fine dining down to like quick tacos, I think Mexican takes the cake. Greta would say if there's one type of food, if she had to pick one type of food for the rest of her life, it would definitely be Mexican.
Yeah, and let's be honest, Mexican is like many types of foods, right? Because it's like you've got regions within Mexico that differ dramatically in the type of food that they have. So I don't say that I agree with you. I just mean like saying Mexican food is almost like saying like if I had to pick one type of food, I'd pick European food and I'd have like Italian and
Well,
it's
kind of,
not
kind of.
quite that much, but I'm saying it is. It is like, the Baja food is way different than different regions in Mexico. Like those are
That's why it's a
huge.
great choice.
I know. I agree with it. I second that. I second that emotion, as Smokey Robinson would say.
Sick in that emotion.
Anyway,
Ooh.
so let's talk about getting some energy, right? Is that
Yeah,
the
I think
that's the
Diana
topic
was
today?
like, let's. Diana's like, oh, you're like always getting like how to get calm. She's like, how do you get jacked up?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's Diana for us. That's awesome. Um,
So we
yes,
got a special tea blend that Lisa, the tea lady, made us, right?
yeah. I just want to say, having your own in-house
Tea
tea
lady?
formulator, it is so choice.
It
If
is
you
so
have the
true.
means, I'd highly recommend you pick one.
Oh,
Cheers, Lisa. Thank you. Yeah, so we're drinking yerba mate, peppermint, and ginger blend. And I'm feeling good.
yeah.
I love when peppermint,
4,000 restaurants in the downtown area. I pick the one my father goes to.
yeah. We're going to turn this into a Ferris Bueller quote-a-thon.
I just like that one. I just.
What country do you think this is?
Professional what?
Anyway, that's talk about something that gives me energy. How this many decades later does Ferris Bueller still give me energy? And my kids who've come to love Ferris Bueller, but it does. It absolutely does. Um,
So anyway, let's we do talk about calming, and I think a lot of people need de-stressing all the time, and they're actually not unrelated because if you are managing your stress well, you are hopefully able to be focused and engaged in your work and your life and your interests, and you are tired when you're supposed to be tired, and you're getting good sleep when you're supposed to be sleeping, and that way when you wake up you have lots of energy. So before we get into the how to
yeah,
boost your energy, I do want to say that it's not a separate issue actually, right?
I'm right there with you. I was going to say, like the problem with talking about energy is we live in a world of energy boosters already, right? So like everything is sponsored by Monster and 5 Hour Energy and Energy this and
And
Energy that.
Hejibo,
Yeah, and
that's Brazilian for Red Bull.
yeah, and it's and it's basically like I would call it not energy but jacked, right? It's like let me take a stimulant to make myself feel crazy, and like there's some pleasure that comes from getting a little bit jacked up. It's why caffeine is the best, sort of the most popular drug in the world right now, um, from a number of people consuming it number of times of day, um, and spending ridiculous amounts of money on it. Uh,
Yeah.
but I would say that to me the best part about energy is when it feels like almost effortless, where you have that boundless energy but you don't feel too jacked, and you essentially want to um, you feel like energized mentally and or physically but still able to stay focused. That to me is like the height of energy.
Yes.
So, and yeah, that's John. You had asked about how do you get jacked without getting jittery, and I think we'll definitely touch on that. Um,
Yeah, that's like that. I think that's what we're getting at actually, which is how do you get sustainable energy that doesn't have a crash following it, right?
yeah, because like you can take a bunch of sugar and you'll feel a super surge of energy, and then you'll feel like really tired and down and crash. You can eat a bunch of carbs and you'll get a big amount of like energy to go do something, and then you're going to crash, right? You can take a bunch
Yeah.
of caffeine and you'll get super jittery, and then you will be like, if I don't have more caffeine, I'm going to fall asleep.
Yeah. As JJ was excited for my birthday, he said, are we going to get some sort of, he said, he seemed very half excited. Are we going to get some sort of sugar-free treat?
Yeah.
But I could tell he was like trying to be like excited for me,
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I don't really care if I have one or not,
Yeah. Yeah.
like they might as well just make ones they like, and just eat them in my honor.
Yeah. You're not a huge dessert guy.
I just never have liked, sweets. I mean, it's nice to like indulge every once in a while. I will tonight or whatever, but it's just
Yeah.
fun.
So let's talk about some things. I want to say, I know I've been talking about this a lot lately, but getting sunlight, or at least even if it's not sunny, getting light in the morning is a great way to start. You will actually get energy by creating hormones that your eyes are sort of, they're not just visual, they don't just turn light into something you can see to navigate your way around the world.
They
They
set your
actually
clock.
trigger hormones and other neurotransmitters that essentially will tell your body time to wake up, time to produce
It's your
energy,
clock.
time
It's
to
your
get in.
clock.
Yeah.
And so if you see in the morning that it's sunny and then you're walking to your car or you're walking to the train or you're walking to work, don't put on your sunglasses right away. That's the number one thing is like just because there's sun outside doesn't mean get a few minutes of walking, even if it's a little bit like, whoa, the sun's in my eyes, it will wake you up. And then put your sunglasses on, go about your day. But that initial jump start is telling you the day has begun and you will notice a difference of energy if you do that and if you don't do that.
Yeah. Agreed.
I think that's an
So that's a
important.
good one. Um, Again, people would say maybe this is calming, but I find it to be energizing. And then we'll get into like the products you can use, et cetera. But meditating for 10 minutes in the morning and then doing some yoga and or stretching. Those are things where my day is immeasurably better and I have more focus, patience, and energy to do hard things when I've done that, because my body is kind of like, yeah, you've taken care of me. And my mind is like, you've gotten all like the racing thoughts and sort of the bad part, the edginess out of the morning from the morning out of the way. Not all of it. Like,
Even if you did 5 minutes of each, I think you would notice a huge difference. I ideally try and do 10 minutes of each, but even if you're like, that's not possible with me, 5 minutes of each, and you will feel a vast difference. Just opening your hips up is actually, most of us are sitting, most of us are, like have been laying, we get up and then we sit,
yep,
and then we get up to do something and we sit. It taking a few minutes in the beginning of the day to, we always talk about the couch stretch. That's my favorite. And I can like, you put your foot up right there and kneel down. That one for you lean forward and then lean back 1 minute each way, and then the other foot a minute forward, minute back. I mean, my day is completely different if I do that and if I don't do that.
that's I feel the same way about. I should do the couch stretch. I don't really do it. My knee has been problematic, so kneeling on sort of on that kneecap is kind of hard. But I would say for me, it's loosening the chain that goes from my neck down to my ankles, of like getting that whole chain of muscles in forward bends, because I find that I tend to like sitting in a chair, I'm not ever doing something that actually gets that all stretched out. So it's like
Yeah.
hamstrings up through lower back, mid back, and neck
If
is
you're also
really awesome.
if your knee hurts, I think it's called pigeon. Pigeon will do basically the same thing, that pose, without pressure right on the kneecap.
Yeah, I do that. I do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you something about opening up the middle of the body. I feel like we get like awake here and then we're awake in the bottom, but there's no like flow through. And just like cracking that open is a big difference for me.
For me, it's the thoracic spine. It's like I need to get that middle, between the shoulder blades. That part is like locked. And so I do that, doing twists, and then doing, or I do that, I do a foam roller, but I switch to the TRX rocker, and that has a fin which comes up and actually presses into the spine, and I get all this like cracking out on that part of my body that I would say I went a decade or more not really moving enough, a couple
Yeah,
of
yeah.
decades. Anyway, so that's good ways to start. Then let's talk about some things that you can do to get some other energy. So, some people say breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Um, I don't really eat a traditional breakfast, and I find that it makes me tired. And for me, as someone who had blood sugar issues, I needed it for energy that wasn't sort of like this. Like I'd drink some caffeine in the morning, I'd be going crazy. So I switched to putting MCT, like a bulletproof or an MCT oil in my coffee with some butter, and I blend it up. And what I found is I can drink a lot of coffee, and the combination of fat with the caffeine never feels jittery. And what it did was train my body to start using fat as an energy source rather than food. And what that feels like once you make that switch is energy that is really clean, doesn't really have a crash, and doesn't leave you with any kind of tiredness at all. And it's so satisfying, the fats, that I don't need to eat. Like I'm getting a little hungry right now. So as soon as we're done doing this video, I'll eat lunch, but I haven't had any actual food that I've used my teeth to bite today, you know? And I solved kind of like, a good portion of the world's problems this morning. Today was an amazing day. So
Um,
a good
I
portion of
cannot
my world's
vouch for your
problems.
claim. I cannot vouch for your claim, but I will say that I do take a spoonful of fat with my. I drink espresso, so I love the like tiny. I like want the best, and I want a little bit of it, and that's it. And
Yeah.
so I on my first sip, I'll take a spoonful of ghee or butter and then just take a sip and mix it around and swallow it. But that helps me. Then I sip my coffee and I don't get like
Yeah.
the jittery or the nervous stomach or sometimes a little nausea from it. I don't get any of that because there's sort of a foundation of good fats there.
Yeah.
The
Just as a
other
heads up,
thing,
so you're talking espresso. I was just going to say for people who want to try it, this is like a 20-ounce cup. I do almost the whole thing filled with drip coffee. I put 1 tablespoon of MCT oil and 1 tablespoon worth of unsalted butter in there, preferably European,
you
because
whip
it's
it
a
up.
different kind of protein, not as irritating as the American butter, and blend it up. And that gets me through.
Yeah, and also like just so people know that because putting butter in your coffee sounds pretty gross, but it's actually ends up those two things together ends up being like sort of a little latte is what it kind of
Yeah.
tastes like.
I have a nice foam at the top. It tastes
Yeah,
delicious.
it's not like oil sitting on top of
No.
and while it can sound kind of gross, do it once or twice, you'll see the first thing that people talk about when they add MCT oil to their coffee is the lifting of the mind fog.
Yeah.
That's like the number one thing that people mention is, oh my God, my mind fog is gone. Mind fog. I hear it all the time. And if you go on Amazon and you look at like sort of keto additives for coffee, the number one thing when you search the reviews, mind fog.
Yeah.
It's like what everyone talks about, and you feel it. You feel it the first day you do it.
Yeah. And to me, it's like it's funny because once you're used to it, you forget that that is sort of a normal state. Do you know what I mean? But like, I don't really have mind fog in the morning. I come in and I'm like, get on the call, do this, do that, do data work, do whatever there is needed. But I remember I used to feel like struggling in the morning. I was
Mm.
struggling to just like get working and like have things click. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of struggling to get going,
Mhm.
so I wanted to mention other sort of mild things that are um, not stimulants.
Yeah,
Um, I want to just pull up so I can read it to you. Just give me 1 second. Um,
yeah.
uh, I had it up and then somehow that window closed. Sorry about that.
And we're going to cover a number of products too. So if you're looking for something, we hopefully will have something for you no matter what kind of situation you're in.
So I struggle in the morning with, well, first of all, since we talked about a drink in the morning that you use, I'd like to talk about one that I use. I don't eat a traditional breakfast most days. I drink a green smoothie. And green smoothies are good because if it, the book you should get is called Green for Life.
By the
I,
Butenkos.
what's up?
Butenko is the
Victoria
author.
Butenko, right?
Yeah.
And she talks about how much protein is in greens, how much fiber is in greens, soluble fiber. So insoluble fiber is like a fleece seed, right? Like what
Yeah.
is it called?
Psyllium. Psyllium.
Psyllium. So that like kind of bulks up and pushes things through your system. This, when you look under a microscope, soluble fiber looks like tiny little Brillo pads. And what it does is scrapes your insides and gets all the junk and all the old crap that's been literal crap that's been sitting inside of you and gets it out. And the first couple days you do it are nasty. But I'm going on now over 10 years, probably 12 years straight of almost every day of my life doing green drink.
Yeah.
I have like a recipe that I love where I add mint and parsley just for extra internal deodorant. Keeps my breath fresh. I drink coffee now. I didn't used to do that 6 years ago, so that was a huge bonus because I don't get that sort of coffee breath after I've had a green drink. But the best part, besides the fiber, which I think is going to extend your life, because you're getting old poop out of you, literally. That's like when that, if you talk to any doctor, Western, Eastern, all kinds of stuff, if you are not eliminating fully, you will get sick. That they know that.
Well,
So
is there anything more energizing than eliminating fully?
no, yeah, I know. No, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
It also increases the surface area of your nutrients. So because you're like, you could eat a huge salad, but chewing them with your teeth, even your molars, and macerating them down, you're still only getting some of the nutrients through them. You're getting a lot of the fiber benefits, but absorbing the nutrients, not so much. So when you put it in a 1,000 watt blender like a Vitamix and you blend it up so it's liquefied, it's infinitely more bioavailable.
You're breaking all those cell walls because the cell walls are really hard for we're not cows. We don't have a ruminant stomach that sits there and lets it ruminate and essentially dissolve those cell walls. So much of what you eat in roughage does not get translated into nutrients the way
So
it's
I
supposed
drink probably what a family would eat of salad every night. I drink every morning. And so not only am I drinking like sort of what four people would eat, but I'm absorbing maybe twice, three, four times that because of how it's broken down. So, and it is, I'm telling you, cartoonishly Popeye like. It's like you drink it and you're like, power up. We always joke and say power up right afterwards. It feels
to.
like
Yeah,
you ate a star in Mario Brothers.
yeah. No, I do have different. I've been doing a red drink for a number of years right now, um, because I don't eat a lot of fruit. I sort of get those, whereas I do eat a lot of greens. But whenever I'm with you and we drink the greens, I'm like, why am I not doing green drink? Because I did it for probably 6, 7 years. um, so no, I think that is a great thing to do for energy. which brings us to, caffeine, right? Caffeine's pretty awesome energy. I like
It
coffee a
is.
lot.
It is. I mean, I think that, like I said, like you said, if you're going to be doing coffee, mix it with some fat. I really do think that's important. Um, you're going to get less refluxy issues. You're going to get less jitteriness. You're going to crash less. And what happens is when you consume it with fat, it slows down your metabolism of the caffeine because your body has to deal with the fat that you've added to it, and you're slower at metabolizing fat. And so when they're coupled together, you're going to get your caffeine over 4 hours as opposed to 30 minutes and crash or an hour and crash, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's right.
Um,
Hey, I want to just take a second and welcome anybody who's joined us. Thank you. It's TQ and JQ here at Tea Time at the Apothecary. Today, we're not interviewing anyone. I'm interviewing Jay a little bit. It's his birthday, so we're celebrating his birthday, and we're talking about energy and good ways to get energy. Hopefully, clean, non-jittery energy rather than jacked up, jittery energy, and ways to kind of like wake yourself up, get in work mode, get in exercise mode, get in whatever, but find ways to get energy. So that's what we're doing. We're drinking a tea that Lisa, our in-house tea formulator, made for us of yerba mate, peppermint, and ginger, which is, I have to say, I'm feeling pretty delightful today.
yeah, so Mateen, Mateen is chemically, thanks Lisa,
Coffee.
happy birthday wishes. Um, Mateen is chemically very similar to caffeine. They look structurally very similar, so it affects the body in a similar way. But people find that it's a much cleaner sort of lift and much softer landing, if that makes sense. Um, so, I mean, I love yerba mate. I think it's excellent. I
Are you
like
a latte guy?
I mean, I don't do it enough actually.
Me
You
neither.
know, I love the taste of it. I like the flavor. You know, so for me, and I used to add it to your headache blend when I was working at the store and I was the tea lady. I would do it. So,
Yeah,
and that was just like my little trick as like a little pick me up because I heard it was less jolty than caffeine, but it felt like we both needed a lift at the time.
yeah,
And it works well. So I'm loving this blend. I think it's great.
it's delicious. It feels
I'm
really
feel
good.
I'm
Yeah.
feeling good and I'm not feeling jittery. So
So while we're on that topic, let me also talk about if you are a person who gets too jittery from coffee, we talked about adding fats, but also I find green tea to be one of the best because it has L-theanine as well, and it's a lower amount of caffeine generally for the amount that you brew compared to coffee or black tea. Um, Green tea for most people, even if like black tea for me can be pretty harsh actually, even in some ways more than coffee on my esophagus.
oh,
Uh,
I'm way more thirsty after green black
yeah,
tea
those,
than I
those
am coffee.
tannins are kind of drying and astringent and irritating for a lot of people in black tea. And so when people say they don't like tea, I think sometimes that what they don't like is that feeling, that astringent sort of tannic feeling. Green tea has some of that, but less. And what I find is green tea has the boost, but again, it's tempered. It's like it's combined with the L-theanine, so you feel simultaneously energized and relaxed. So to me, it's like the perfect afternoon boost because um, I don't really want that much caffeine in the afternoon. I don't want to get, I don't want to have a hard time falling asleep. I don't want to be jacked up at all. So even black tea sometimes too much, and coffee is definitely too much, unless I'm just sort of like on a ski vacation and ready to sort of like throw myself into the jacked up nature of the situation. But other
Yeah, I
than
mean,
that,
this is part of the reason that I love espresso is that it's, about a third as much as a cup of coffee.
so you can do it again later.
I can do it a couple times a day, even and I got into it in Spain, and it's just like we do double shots in America, but they do single shots and they just drink them all the time. You stop into some place and you have a little cortado. They put it with cream. It's with fat, and they do a single shot, a half shot, what we would call a half shot. And they just stop in pour cold cream into it and then shoot it down quickly and then move on with their day. And you do 4 or 5 of those a day, which is still less caffeine than a drip coffee, an American drip coffee in the morning, you
Yeah,
know?
but spread out. Yeah,
Yeah. And so I really just enjoy that because to me, I get a little bit of that same kind of feeling from that, you know?
that's cool. Um, what else you got, Jay?
Well,
You talked through caffeine. You have a couple other things you like.
yeah, I wanted to talk about Greta keeps this one in the house. This is the Bach flower remedy.
A little farther. Yeah, oh, right there. Rescue Energy. This is Rescue Remedy done as an energy variation.
Yeah, so when you're talking about calming and energy and that like sort of people kind of think of them as battling, but you can use them together smartly, like green tea. Um, and this is kind of the same thing. It's like you get Rescue Remedy and you put in olive essence, which is energy boosting. So when you put those together, you calm any issues you might have, and you give yourself a little boost.
And when we say energy boosting for this particular one, we're talking about like mental and emotional energy more than physical. This is not like a caffeine kind of thing, but that's exactly the point I was going to say. Is like, are they really different? I think we in America have a bias towards like energy being something you need to get from a physical energy substance, from a substance that makes you feel physically energized, when really a lot of what we want is emotional and mental energy. And we turn to something like caffeine, which literally is like stimulating my muscles and my nerves. And it's like, that's not always good, right? Um, so whereas like this, the thing I like about Rescue Remedy is it's really stress relief, which again, you relieve stress, you can actually focus your energy the way you want. But then this kind of gives like a little bit of a boost to that idea of like, wow, I want to tackle something big, or I want to like do this right now, do this big project.
Yeah, and I have to say, I know Mom does the Bach flower remedies, but I like to mess with that big purple FES book that has
Yeah, the
like
North American flowers.
yeah, and I like to just like kind of leaf through it and choose your own adventure, your way through it, because it's a really cool text actually.
I love
And
that book.
I know it's so cool.
You
Uh
should pick that up.
and I came to two remedies. For me, I struggle with that sort of brain even when I do bulletproof and I add fats to my thing, I struggle a little bit. I wouldn't say with brain fog, but a little bit of a Monday morning feeling. Every day. I'm just a little Kaphic in nature if you follow Ayurveda. And it's just like a little bit of like mud. It's like I'm moving through mud for the first hour or two of the day.
Yeah, earth is your primary dosha, which can leave you a little muddy.
Yeah. And so I put these two flower essences together, blackberry and tansy. And I've recommended it a bunch of times in the front of the store, and people come back and they're like, that was amazing. It's so great. And blackberry is for pushing forward in life. What does it say? Pushing forward in life and for grounding your ideas into reality. This energizing flower essence helps you stand up for what you believe in, and it helps you be able to be more fruitful. And then the other one is Tansy, and Tansy works more directly on the self awareness of those who energetically downshift as an avoidance mechanism.
Hmm, that's really interesting.
So, with sustained use, such individuals are able to connect their core self to a more readily and align with their true strength and purpose. So those two I find work in tandem lovely.
That's
So
awesome, Jay.
yeah, so I take those in a dropper bottle and then we put in like some distilled water and then just Mom says like 6 times a day, but the rule I always had from Dr. Scooby, rest in peace, was that just if you can't remember that, just when you think of it, take it.
And if you've forgotten it, probably means you don't need it.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know what I mean? And
Yeah.
no, that means you didn't need it. You're like, yeah,
They're like, well, I feel much better now, thanks.
yeah, yeah. I feel much better with my lazy ass, inconsistent use of what you recommended to help me. You know, he was such a master at making me feel like I was perfect with my bad usage of things. So, on that note, Jay, the product Illumin, I've said it before. I know I've talked about it in the past. It's a North American flower essence blend, a
It's a blend,
spray.
yeah.
And when that first came out, I always tell the story that it was not released yet. And the woman who was there to train us handed me a blank bottle, put this in your hand and tell me what you feel. And I was like, okay, so like I acknowledge right now by me telling you this, you may think this is BS or crazy. I held this glass bottle with a little spray top on it. She didn't say a single word about it. I said, what do you tell me what you feel? I held it in my hand and I said, it feels like a heart beating. It feels like a DJ, the bass of a sound system. That's what I feel in my hand. And she looks at me like kind of startled and goes, this is to bring light and energy when you're feeling down and out. Like that's exactly what it is. Now, of all the things like in flower essence, it could be for impatience, it could be for, calming you down, it could be for grief, it could be whatever. But that's what I felt having a blank bottle put in my hand. And I've used this over the years when I'm having that Monday morning feeling, or maybe, like right now, am I depressed? I don't think so. In a clinical sense, maybe not. But like, is it hard to be up sometimes and feel the full energy when, I have one kid going to school in her bedroom, never getting out of PJs. Like, we don't see our friends as often as we'd like. You can't really hug people. Like, yeah, it sucks right now. Even in the best moments, still there's like a layer of crappiness over everything in most of our lives. And so I feel like this Illumin, I thought of it today just as we were talking and was thinking, I need to find mine or grab a bottle of it because I want that light back in my life.
Certainly, I can relate. Um, yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
I have not used that product, but that's amazing that you had that visualization when you grabbed the bottle. I love
You
that
know,
story.
you know how long ago that was? That was 15 years ago or something in that range when it came out. I
Yeah,
was
it
a,
had to
I was
be.
a kid back then, Jay. Now I'm an older kid. It's nice. Anyway, what else? You got anything else that we want to talk about?
Well, now I do want to talk about getting jacked up a little bit.
Yeah,
I'd be
yeah,
like all of that said. So, like, why don't you just tell people if they're new, just tell them why we're
yeah.
here.
So here we are. We're talking Tea Time with the Apothecary. I'm TQ, my brother JQ, and we're talking about energy and how to get it nicely. But how to get energy, you
We're
know?
drinking an
I
awesome
drink,
blend from Lisa, the tea lady,
yeah.
who made us a blend of yerba mate, peppermint, and ginger.
All of which we sell. Whenever we talk about our blends, we may not always have them prepackaged and pre-made, but one of the things that makes us special is we have pesticide-free herbs. Some are organic, some are wild crafted, some are just pesticide-free, and they are. We have, I would say, over 100, maybe close to 200 herbs
It's
that we
amazing.
sell from around the world that we source. And in the past 6 months, our sources, our supply has gotten even better.
And I got to tell you, they're really good.
Yeah, getting high off your own supply when you deal with loose herbs is definitely it is the number one rule you're supposed to do. It's not like Biggie's 10 crack
Never
commandments.
get on your supply.
So anyway, we talked all about the like ways to get amped up, but in a healthy sort of calm way. But now we're talking about ways to get jacked up a little bit harder.
All right, like first of all, let's just talk about black tea for a second because I don't think there is any better way. I don't think coffee even comes close to like our Arabian Nights black tea. That is that black and green blend.
I think that one is black and green blend, which I love.
That
But
one's awesome, but also just our
English breakfast, our oolong, our bunch of them, right?
those jack you up, and those are awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
And the
even
thing I like about tea is like you can really adjust the strength by the amount you put in one. Like you don't need more time, but you just put more in and you're like, whoa, it's really good.
John says everybody should have a tea lady.
Yeah. It's so choice.
It is so
Uh,
choice.
yeah.
Here's the thing I take right before I go to the gym. So here's the other thing. If you're a gym person, or if you're not like, I'll never stretch in the morning by myself, I'll never do it. Find a class, find a place, find a thing, find an online class and pay for it and then do it and put it in your schedule. Write it into your calendar and do it because I am one of those people. I need group shaming and spending money to make me feel bad enough to do it.
Yeah. I think money, paying for it is one of the best ways to actually do something because who likes to waste their money?
Exactly. So I will say when I go to the gym, it's like I sign up the night before and I'm like, I don't want to wake up this early tomorrow. I don't want to pay for this. And then I just do it. And I'm like, I can't go back now. Oh, yes. Me now hates this, but me later is going to thank me now, you know? And right before I head to the gym, I wake up, I go downstairs, I fill my water, I fill my green drink, and then I take two of these.
Nitric oxide pre-sport from
Yeah.
early.
So if you're like have high blood pressure, don't take this and stuff. But um, it's got theanine, it's got yerba mate, it's got ginseng, it's got cayenne, beet powder, and MCT oil in it.
And I think am I right? I think the the nitric oxide is coming from the beet. Am I correct in remembering that? It's been a while since I've looked at it,
Let me see.
I believe. But anyway,
I don't
how does
know.
it make you feel? Talk about that, more importantly.
Oh, I mean, when I get to those workouts, I'm like everyone else is huffing and puffing, and I'm like, I'm like just going. And the days I forget to do it, I notice a complete difference. I'm like not huffing and puffing, and I'm going faster than the other people in the class. And afterwards, I'm like, yeah, I could, I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm not like dying and like, it's great. I mean, you definitely feel like a little jacked. That's the best way I can put it. Nitric oxide is just like a little bit jacked, but you just feel like you are capable.
Yeah, and if I'm remember, it's been a while since I've used it because I've been more on like the calm workouts, like even when they're strength, they're like yoga and stuff. But my remembrance is that like it also cuts down on recovery time in general. Is that
Yeah,
true?
well, I actually take this is the pre-sport and I take the after workout when I get home then too, which is like a turmeric kind of
Anti-inflammatory.
turmeric and black pepper and fish oil sort of anti-inflammatory blend. So I love that one too. But that doesn't get me jacked up. This gets me jacked up, and it's fun. And it is fun. It's like it, it you'll see it in a lot of like weightlifter blends, and they put it in like powders and take too much of it at once, and I would be wary of those
Yeah,
situations.
just be cautious. If you're not
Yeah,
like,
just like start with something small, start with something calm that is blended with things like theanine that keep it from getting jacked up. So that you're feeling, and just try one the first time, and just see if that's enough for you. I found that for me, they're saying like you can take for a more immediate effect, take 1 hour before activity. Like it's too much for me. I've done it. I'm like, that's too much.
yeah,
But two is like perfect for me. So
well,
find something in small doses that you're able to like move up and then back away from when you feel like that was just my limit right there.
yeah. The other thing is, can I just say like doing like air squats or something like that is just a good way to get energy back pumping through your body. So when you're feeling sluggish, just like, get yeah, I don't have room to back up and show, but it's like just getting up and doing some air squats. Like you do 10 of those fast, 5 of them, if you're not very active, you're gonna be like, whoa, I'm awake and like I got the blood pumping and I'm ready to go. So on a more like couch couch potatoes version of it, like you don't need to take a pill. Just
Yeah.
people.
Also, like, G,
Jumping.
Our brother G would be like, get it, like the little rebounder trampolines. Just bouncing on one of those. Take your next call on one. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then just like,
And not like big jumps, just
just
not even leaving the trampoline,
barely
just
leaving your
moving up
toes.
and down.
Yeah. That's a great way to get your lymphatic system draining and to get your heart rate up. So,
True. Yeah. Well, I think Diana's listening or watching. She said our dad needs Abdul needs to be in the video to show people how they can be jacked up. Abdul's chill as hell lately. Um, yeah. So. uh,
Teresa is saying my kids can either energize me or drain my energy, depending on. So, yeah, I know. Kids, make you old, keep you young,
yeah,
for sure.
and make you cry. I like to throw that on
If
there
you're
too.
T, everything makes you cry.
I'm a crier. I get when I try to keep the emotions tamped down behind this facade of
Of
businessman,
coolness. Yeah,
yeah,
you're so,
of
yeah.
coolness. Can't you tell? But really, break through this thin veneer, and I'm a mess. I'm a softie.
Soft shell crab.
Yeah, that's me.
Uh,
Um, anyway, yes, Teresa, I agree. Uh, you know, what are you gonna do?
yeah. So, you know, find that energy. And surround yourself with people that bring you good energy because that is going to sustain you for longer than 90 minutes or a day or a week. Find the people that make you want to be better and be active and are so awesome that they make you want to do things for them. Because if you can't do it for yourself, at least find some other people around you that can motivate you to do things. Because, like, my kids tire me out, but wow, they sure energize me because there's no one I would rather
Be a
make
gopher
happy.
for,
You know?
be a wrestling partner, be a craft partner,
Be a horsey,
a butt cleaner upper, be a whatever.
and that is the real key to it all is just inspiration.
Um, that's a good way to go out because I think our mom, Rita, is one of the most energetic people that I know. She and majority of it comes because she finds a lot of meaning and joy in serving others, the people around her.
I would put your
And
daughter Nola in that same category.
yeah, high energy. When she crashes, she's done because she's given it all. She's given it all to everyone around her. You know, yeah. So I just think that's one of those things that if you stop, be grateful that you get to help people and affect people. There's a lot of energy in that. You could go days on that.
True that, true that. All
All
right.
right. Thank you for joining us, Jay. Happy birthday, my brother.
Thanks, buddy.
Um, yeah, I hope you have a great one. And thank you all for joining us. We love you and wishing you much energy and joy. All right. Peace out.